Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about a concept called genre expectations and connect that with the rhetorical analysis pieces that we worked through a couple weeks ago and continue to deepen what that means for us, because understanding the connections between the writer, reader, topic, and text, the delivery, all of that all comes into understanding how this works. So the concept of genre, as we've talked a couple of times, is the type of expectations that a reader or a viewer will have based on what we're talking about, right? So I say we're going to a sci-fi movie, we know that something's going to happen, the aliens are going to come and the humans are going to triumph or try to find a way to work with the aliens, right? We know if we're going to a rom-com, they're going to meet, something's going to happen, they're going to fall in love, it's going to be, frustrating, and then they're going to get back together, right? So genre expectations give us a format to think about. And so it helps writers in that we create organization, we understand what content to provide, we understand, if we're in an academic setting, what style of citation and how in-depth we have to be. We understand tone and thinking about that because we know we're in an academic setting, here's a specific essay, I have to do it this way, right? Genre also helps readers to make predictions, right? So how interested in this am I going to be? What do I expect you to tell me? How do I know in what order you're going to show me your information? How does that work? So genre and understanding the expectations works on several levels for you as a reader analyzing something, but also for you as a writer creating your own projects. And so again, genre analysis is a part of rhetorical analysis. So if rhetorical analysis is this full understanding of these aspects and thinking about how each of these connect with each other, that genre analysis, the type of text you have, both a broad and a subset of text, is the piece that you really want to think about as you start to go more deeply into academic writing and the different styles and options that you have, but also thinking broadly about your personal, civic, professional writing as well, thinking about not just these things in this specific classroom context, but in other ways as well. And so thinking about understanding clearly defined genre expectations, again, coming back to you as an author, you learning about writing in this course, it helps you understand the text, right? So what content information is going to be there? How do I put it together? But it also helps you understand, what do I want to emphasize? I originally thought this idea would be good at the beginning, but as I begin to write it, I realized, no, it's stronger somewhere else, right? You can really also predict what the readers might want. So I'm going to be one level of reader for your writing as your instructor, but also you should be writing to people who are interested in what you're talking about, right? Thinking about what they'll expect and how do you choose the pieces of information that work that way, right? So we consider how genre, subgenre, different combinations of so many different things work. The other part of genre expectation is really thinking about the modes that we're working in. So we've been previewing this as we looked at the full course projects we're doing, that's circulating the conversation where we're talking about multimodal composing. Most of what we do is linguistic and visual. When you think about alphabetic text, writing essays, it's Times New Roman 12-point, double-spaced, 1-inch font, right? All of those things of thinking about how, it's some spatial, right? But there's not really a lot of gestural or oral, right? And so we're used to writing in this very specific way. In this class, we're going to push outside of that a little bit. We're going to start with alphabetic text because that's where we're used to being, but we can also analyze visual text. We can also analyze linguistic, spatial, video, podcasts, all of those things. We can both analyze and create them. And by understanding them, we can understand and use them and employ them better for us as we go. So one of the things to think about is that in academic writing, our genre expectations focus on 4 specific things, right? And this is introduced in our writer's checklist structure. As we start to move further into the Interacting with Text project, you'll get an idea of how these pieces work. So format, how it's delivered, content, what's in it, citation, how we draw our authority by drawing on the authority of others as emerging writers, and quality. How well am I doing everything that I'm working through? So genre expectations in an academic essay really do influence what we're doing. And this class is going to introduce a lot more flexibility than you're used to, right? So you are probably used to this traditional 5-paragraph essay. One of the exciting things about writing at this level and starting to emerge as a different, more extended writer is that you're going to have a chance to focus on more aspects, and that means you have more flexibility. That means you get to make more choices. So it can be exciting / a little bit terrifying, right? So as you start to make these choices, I want to give you some key elements that you can consider as you go through each piece to kind of think about, how does this element, this genre expectation in this style of essay conform or constrain me? How should I meet or not meet, right? And these things will vary by discipline. So what you're going to do in an English class, a history class, a psychology class might be different than what you do in a lab class or a math class, but they are all still there. They do all still exist. And so I want to really think about, how can I help you understand what this works, how this works? And so the first thing you want to do is you want to understand, what is the basic expectation? So this slide right here is the basic expectation for an appropriately formatted alphabetic essay, text-based, alphabetic text in MLA style. And this is the style we are writing our introduction, interacting with text essay in. So that's the style you want to be focused on. So what I just told you is that this slide is a requirement for your interacting with text essay. How do we capture it, right? Where do we get this information? So put it in your guided notes, note this as, the time code, look at the writer's checklist. You probably will notice that the writer's checklist requirements match this really well, right? So that's the format and layout part. Now, where the more flexibility comes in is the content, right? So we may have a front matter section. We'll talk a little bit about how we're not really going to do that in this first essay. That might come into play with longer projects, especially when you're doing case study analyses or things like that. So front matter section, when you look at a text, think about, table of contents, an introduction or a foreword to kind of give you a little more context for the project, telling you what's in the project, right? We don't really do that in this class. What we really do is focus on the body section. Now notice, a lot of people will stop the body at the end of the text, at the end of the conclusion. But if the body section is anything required to understand what you wrote, if you have citation and you don't have any works cited page, you don't have any reference as to where that's going to go, you have not given everything required to understand your text. So that's something to think about as well, okay? We also have in matter sections. So think about appendices, think about extra information. Sometimes people will put in data sets, those kinds of things. And so thinking about disciplinary issues like, but this is still all content. Which section am I working on? How am I working it through, right? And so in this class for interacting with text, this is the introduction. This is the piece that you have to think about. What order does it go in? Are there elements that are required to be in a specific place? Are there elements that can be moved around? And that's where we're going to keep talking about in our drafting workshops, right? Knowing what these pieces are, how do they work, where do they go? That's the important part of understanding how to be flexible in your application of genre, right? The body, right? So we know introduction, body, conclusion. We're used to that 5-paragraph essay. That's great. We know that a body has a thesis, has a topic, supports the topic, and we're going to talk about how that piece of evidence, your concrete detail, connects back to your topic and whatever critical approach you're taking. So if you're trying to argue, then your commentary is going to explain how this demonstrates your argument. If you're trying to teach and explain, then your commentary is going to explain why that piece of information is necessary for your teaching, right? And so there are all these little pieces that you go in saying, okay, I know I need evidence, I know I need to explain it, but what the explanation is and what I'm pointing to is going to vary depending on what I'm doing, right? So thinking about a conclusion, right? So alphabetic text-based essay, which is what the Interacting with Text project is. Here we have conclusion, restating the thesis, reminding your importance of your critical connection. How do we get back to your opening and hook? All of those pieces, that's kind of what you have to work through. Now, the cool part about this is that you can actually start by kind of with a rough idea of your intro and really hone in on the body, and then work on the introduction and conclusion in different together, right? You can kind of, you maybe have been taught before, you have to have a clear idea, you have to have your outline, you have to have everything. And it's good to have an idea where you're starting and what you want to do, but you don't have to have every detail worked out, because revision and the process of revising is what's going to guide us through really exploring how these pieces connect together and how they work, right? Okay, so another part of this, we're still in the content piece, right? Citation and references. We have to have a final works cited page in alphabetical order. Having your publication information is so important, right? Here's my tip of the day. Make sure you do your works cited entry at the end first, and then you have all of the correct information you need for your in-text citation. And we're going to have a complete citation diagnostic and practice. We're going to get a chance to figure out what we know, what we need to learn more about, how to do it for multiple authors, how to do it for different sources, all of that kind of stuff. We're going to get a chance to practice that, right? We also think about quality, right? So we know that if we include all the required elements, great. But just because you include it doesn't mean you're doing your best, strongest job. You still have to think about, am I meeting the goal of the task, of the text, of the assignment, of the project, right? Still thinking about rhetorical situation. All of these elements are clear. If expectations are broken, is it clear why I'm breaking away from them? Am I doing it in a useful way? And then thinking about what we call sometimes errors or bugs, right? Grammar, spelling, structural. And you'll notice on the writer's checklist, I don't expect you to not have these. It's about how invasive are they in the text? What are you trying to accomplish? You tell me, let's talk about it. And things that some people might call grammar errors or spelling errors aren't necessarily errors, right? Using languages that are home and comfortable languages. I love to see, like I speak some Spanish. I love to read books that have Spanish interspersed, right? Because I'm like, ooh, that's cool to see languages in connection with each other. No language has ever been developed disconnected from one another. Why aren't we using them in connection to each other and connecting with what we want to say? However, it has to be done in a way that's appropriate to your audience. If you don't think the majority of your audience speaks Spanish, you're going to have to find a way to make sure that they come alongside you and make it obvious, or whatever language you're using. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. And I hope if any of you are interested in working that out or trying something like that, that would be amazing. So how does this approach help you? So we're going to keep watching another video, some more content about using secondary sources and citation. We're going to have a class session where we think about your section claims and thesis and how genre expectations connect to that. And then we have our summary response worksheet, which is like, where did your evidence come from? How does your evidence connect with the project you're trying to create? All of this comes together, right? To think about the interacting with text project in specific, but also these are strategies, understanding what you're trying to do, understanding the goal of what you're trying to create. That's not a bad strategy for any project, right? This lives beyond just this project and this class as well. And so those are great ways to kind of start understanding how genre expectations and academic writing genre expectations can help guide you through both this class and thinking about other projects that you might be creating. I am really excited to see what you're choosing to write about.